welcome to the last episode of Dezaki Month here on Otaku Evolution. I wouldn't count on this being a regular theme month or anything. Most of Dezaki's works haven't even been dubbed in English. But he's a director I recommend, even if you have to read subtitles from time to time. This week I'll be lining up my crosshairs on a man named Duke Togo, Golgo 13. Join me, won't you, for more scenario-centered action. A while back, I took a look at the Golgo 13 movie The Professional, which saw our chatless chap take on waves of his fellow assassins, targeting him for the revenge of a wealthy business type. It turned out that the dumb asshole's son hired Golgo 13 basically for assisted suicide, but was too butthurt to admit the truth. Of course, it's not like Duke made any effort to clear things up, except maybe by popping motherfuckers. As I previously asserted, Golgo 13 is, frankly, more of a plot device than he is a character in and of himself. You can make out little eccentricities, small mannerisms, and things that set him off, but he barely speaks and we learn nothing about him. Most Golgo adventures just kind of set up the pins for him to knock down. But it's the scenarios that make this title worthwhile, and years after these features, there was even a lengthy TV show. It's amusing that Dezaki has directed for Lupin, a character that is bursting at the seams with charisma and personality, but of whom we learn very little about. Blackjack, who we do get to know little scraps about, but while he remains somewhat enigmatic, is also depicted as having a sense of honor and core values. And then there's Duke Togo, a question mark. But they all rely on the setup, the formula, which can wear thin if done poorly, but can be quite a ride when done just right. The Golgo 13 feature Queen Bee from 1998 is much like The Professional, with Golgo the catalyst to a series of dominoes falling. There's political intrigue, revolutionary unrest, and a whole heap of screwing. Dezaki, man, maybe you should have just made some hentai. It's another American election cycle in the Golgo-verse, and a certain Democratic candidate is on his way to the White House on an anti-drug platform. His douchey vice president pick is the guy pulling the strings all the way, though. He's the one who hires Golgo for the job. The target is a commando leader for a South American country's rebels, a woman named Queen Bee who's been sending threats to the campaign. Queen Bee is partnered with a drug kingpin who's financing the guerrillas. Partnered both in business and pleasure, it seems. Her and her team have been moving drugs and committing small acts of terrorism. Obviously, a hardline drug policy in the U.S. would be bad for business, so it seems like she just wants to eliminate the candidate as an obstacle. Naturally, Golgo's first instinct is to, feel her out a little first.
I don't have to tell you that your chances of getting away with it are almost zero. There's one behind the mirror. Another one in the heater vent. But a pro like you would have figured that out. And then there's the other guests in this dump. Using a .44 Magnum makes a whole lot of noise. This place will be crawling with people before you can grab your briefcase and get out the door, to say nothing of getting your clothes back on. But if you're feeling lucky, one bullet right about here ought to finish me off.
Golgo takes another shot at her on her group ship, but she's well prepared and he barely escapes with his life. The VP guy, working with a military officer, suggests some extra insurance in taking out Queen Bee. His running mate is too much of a drunken wreck behind the scenes to be of use, so he has the general call in a renegade war criminal that resembles the suicide doctor in Blackjack. I really should have covered the episode with him.
Through the gates of hell, if my superiors ordered me to!
Oh, I know. I remember ordering you to destroy that village, but your orders did not include cutting open a woman who was 6 months pregnant, dragging her body back to camp and frying up strips of her flesh in a frying pan. You returning to base with a chopper full of human heads. I don't remember ordering anything like that.
She was pregnant. And you gunned her down.
That's right. You know what? You watched me.
Golgo's informant reveals that the presidential candidate is actually the father of Queen Bee. He had her out of wedlock with a waitress. His wealthy family, afraid the scandal might be damaging to a future political career, wanted the woman and child out of the picture, and they indeed disappeared. It turns out that the wormy VP guy had the mother killed and took his child away for the sex trade. Rapist backstory. Haven't run into that one as much as you'd imagine reviewing anime, but it's almost a prerequisite for Golgo features. Listen, can't a woman just like to bang? No, it has to be some kind of fucking trauma that causes her to be hypersexual. Because the female orgasm is just some dark territory only the tainted could cross into, right? Come on, Japan, get your act together. Somehow, QB got to lead a band of guerrillas in South America, which is where Golgo next targets her. But the new Triggerman and his team arrive as well, and they're scorched earth types. They brutalize the base camp, leading to the death of one of Queen Bee's own children. Meanwhile, Duke Togo is none too pleased with the competition. When he's hired to take out a target, he wants to do it himself. Anyone who gets in his way is just another target to him. Finds the injured Golgo and actually patches him up. He's still determined to off her. A job's a job, but she requests some time to at least get her affairs in order. And so naturally they start banging out in the jungle amongst the malaria mosquitoes. Because, stone-cold murderers sent to kill them really turn women on? Listen, lady, I don't want to tell you how to do your job or anything, but despite my enjoyment of Duke Togo's missions, you probably could have just, fucking killed him at any time! And then you wouldn't have to die at all! Anyway, QB freaks out her dad by appearing by a procession route. He's haunted by his decision to let his VP disappear his daughter, but the VP guy is a condescending shitbag, reminding him that he wouldn't have gotten this far without him. At this point, he's really lording his control over his puppet. The next day, our mercenary Maven prepares to assassinate her own father, but before she can, he makes a shocking move.
I have chosen this stadium as the place of execution for my longtime friend and running mate. And his executioner will be me, your candidate for president. This man made me everything that I am today, despicable, loathsome, and unworthy of your trust. He is corruption and evil personified!
Even though he takes the coward's way out, the anti-drug candidate's douchebag running mate remains alive. While Queen Bee accepts Golgo's bullet, she makes a last request, that he finish her work by killing her rapist. And after the closing credits, our favorite assassin does just that, free of charge.
And for you, my lady. She's smoking black holes at the moon. That's my lady.
Wow, that was the most violent softcore porn / political attack ad I've ever seen. Nothing says disposable anime entertainment quite like a Golgo 13 adventure. There's no real reason to ever revisit one, which is one of the reasons I never collected the TV show. Once you've seen how Golgo manages to take out his target, you're pretty much done. There's not a lot to chew on here thematically. That isn't to say it's bad or even really forgettable. It certainly kept my interest for as long as I watched it without any issues, even though it was ultimately stylistic junk. They do this weird thing where not only do other professionals respect Golgo 13 and others fear him, but even the person he's sent to kill is throwing herself at him. Either of the two could have killed the other numerous times, but Queen Bee must have sparked a romantic in Duke Togo because he basically allowed the plot to continue just for shits and giggles. Well, if Golgo 13 giggled, or smiled, or made any kind of real expression. Point is, for a professional, he sure drags things out. As far as presidential candidates go, that Hardy guy is still a better one than either major party candidate from this past American election cycle, or at least he was on par. This is why we need penguins to govern us, folks. They're clearly the most intelligent life on the planet, and all they ask of you is to stop polluting their waters and maybe contribute a fish or two. Just like I'm asking you all to contribute to my Patreon with, hey, come on! Seriously, not cool, Tear. Anyway, we've come to the end of Dezaki month, and I hope I've helped you appreciate his visual cues and directorial flourishes along the way. I may cover something by him at a later date, but it's time to get away from familiar faces and onto some newer territory. This is Mike, Penguin Truth, and there'll be more Otaku Evolution soon enough. Until then, see ya!
Together and with your help, my friends, Thomas Waltham and I will restore the drug.
So which one are you, my friend? A Republican or a Democrat?
A bourbon man.
Hey lady, I wonder where it is you hide. Now lady, must you be on the run tonight, dodging strangers on the street, an undying memory. Well, the city is full of love without her name. It's a pity. I see you dancing the same old game, and the passion in those eyes set to this lake seas. Showered by this neon light, I wonder what you do to
So, tell me, does that poster of DDD behind me in the videos bother you? Because I know DDD kinda, sorta, killed your brother. He's like the only evil penguin. Though that's usually a possession thing. Oh, and did you hear about Nisette shacking up with that assassin on that island? The intelligence sector is all abuzz about it. I say, why not arrest that guy? He killed members of the Penguin Council, but they want to see if he can lead them to Prince What's-His-Name. Oh, we're here. Well, let's see what Pen wants to see us for. We can't stand around jabbering on all day. Let's go, Major. Ooh, that's right. You had a thing for Nisette. Bro, I bet that guy's filling her every night. Terry? Terry? You okay?